You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire Youth Wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Together we are.
Family,
it is time to talk about the greatest show in the WWE right now, NXT UK. We had a wonderful women's match, one women's championship opportunity for Meiko Satomura going against Kaylee Ray, and that was like pretty much the main theme of the show. Despite that, pretty great match. I think that like the matches that came along, I think they were pretty okay. Maybe this show, like you said, went a little too long, but they could have cut short maybe 8 minutes. But despite that, a pretty solid episode of NXT UK.
Oh, yeah, I liked it. Opening match with Dragunov was good. Main event was good. Some of the stuff in the middle was all right, but I think this week just maybe went a little long. You could have trimmed some of it and stuff, even though it's only, a little over an hour and we have to sit through 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. So this was still a piece of cake compared. But, it was a solid show for NXT UK. I just wish... maybe we would have got a different winner in the main event, but overall, still a good show. Great match.
We're going to hear the thoughts from Jean-Paul, maybe how he could have booked it, and then both of them were still look good. But despite that, great women's match. Thank you so very much to every single one of you that subscribe, that comment, that watch every single one of the videos, that, keep pushing us, to keep delivering this great content for every single one of you. And we're going to start with Jean-Paul's own, this Jean-Paul's baby, AEW, because Paul White promises a big surprise for Revolution.
Yeah, is this going to be, who is this? He's a Hall of Fame worthy. So, if you want to go by his words, there's someone who's not in the Hall of Fame who maybe deserves it. So you got to think, who are free agents or people not on TV? Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, those are some guys that come to name. Or if it is a Hall of Famer, maybe like we said, Kurt Angle, he's not too happy with WWE, kind of in the same boat that Paul White was. So maybe he'll jump ship. We've seen Angle do it before. So who knows? But, check out that review, obviously, to go home show for Revolution, hyping up everything with that. Promo Moxley, Onita, Omega, all that stuff. So definitely check it out.
Don't forget to check it out, family. And like Jean-Paul's, like the reviews that Jean-Paul does is like the big shows, like, or Paul White's like shirt, right? No more BS. Yeah, that's where Jean-Paul talks, And also, like, we don't give any bullshit to any single one of you. Is like when you get to NXT, the Prince is ready for Adam Cole next week. Is a match that we've seen before. Is what can they do different? How can they entice us to watch this match one more time? We're going to see next week. It's a pretty loaded show for NXT. 2 championship opportunities, Finn Balor defense, Io Shirai defense. It's going to be really good. And also the move is actually a done deal. It hasn't been yet announced, but everybody says it's just a secret. What is it called? Everybody knows that secret. So, like, it's going to be April 18th, Paul. I got, like, the exclusive for every single one of you that is going to debut on Tuesdays. We don't know yet is it going to be USA or Peacock, but NXT is moving. So it does give us, like, another night to cover professional wrestling, so we're excited. And, your thoughts really quick on this.
Oh yeah. I'm, this week's show was, it was okay. It was better than the previous week, but I'm just mostly looking forward to next week's show. And I think it's going to, those 2 championship matches, Balor and Cole. Like you said, we've seen it before, but I think it'll still be a great show. And then Io Shirai, Tony Storm. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
It's going to be really great. So let's start with NXT UK with your boy Ilya Dragunov, Paul, right here. Like legit music. The guys is still, a little bit confused. It's still like he has some mental issues. Like every time that something triggers him, he goes back to like that killer instinct, and he wants to just murder whoever's in his way.
Well, you actually brought it up, and I mean, we can mention it when we talk about the match. But we can mention now too. He has almost like a switch.
Yes,
and you brought it up a few weeks ago. Some details do get past me. I will admit. You're like, well, how about did you notice every time he gets hit in the back of the neck, like when Walter did it, that sets him off. And it's like, yeah, you know what, you're right, and that's what it was here again. It's the match. It was good. It was contested. And then, Sam Gradwell finally, he gets the upper hand for a while, and then he starts hammering him in the back of the neck, and then that's when Dragunov, it's like, I don't think so. And he snaps. I always make the Ken Shamrock comparison when he would go crazy and just like, ankle lock like 10 officials and belly to belly and everything. And that's what we saw. It's like the guy snaps when he gets hit in the back of the neck. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll get another chance with Walter. Walter will hit him in the back of the neck, and then we'll see like a Super Saiyan Dragunov versus, Walter or something. Maybe that'll be the only way to beat the big man. I don't know, but I mean, this match was good, and I like the whole story of it, because even though Gradwell lost, and you saw it was the thing here where, you know, he has him in the hold or the submission, whatever, and he's just hitting the elbows to the face, and then the ref, you know, kind of the same thing with Shaw Samuels and all that. Oh, let's ring the bell, like it's done.
And Jack Starr's the same thing, like you said, and he gets disqualified though. He's not winning those matches. It's just he gets disqualified because he doesn't let go. But
well, see that it's hard to say really who wins, because I mean you'd have to go check official results, but because they ring the bell, and usually that's like, oh, you would say Dragunov won these all on knockout.
Yeah.
So, but then, you know, he rung. It was almost kind of funny. He like maybe hit 4 or 5 elbows. They rung the bell, and then Dragunov stops and is like, oh, okay, I won, right? I'm not DQ'd. And then the rest like, yeah, you're good. Oh, okay. Boom, 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 boom. And he kept laying in more elbows and knee strikes and everything. And then the refs had to come off, pull him off. He had the one ref in the corner. Looked like he was going to beat him up. Yeah, perfect picture. He's like, that's Dragunov when he finds out you're not subscribed to Roper.
That's right. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, but I mean, this was, and then he eventually calms down and he's like, oh, like, I'm sorry. I love how the ref immediately rolls out of the ring. Not like, oh, yeah, you're good, mate. No, he like rolled out of the ring and was like, I'm getting out of here. And but the whole time, then when it cuts to Gradwell, he's just smiling. Like
he won that one right there.
Yeah, there it is. Because he knows he got underneath his skin. He's like, you know, I got him. He's like, it pretty much just like, like Hogan, don't work yourself into a shoot, brother. That's like what happened here. He's like, oh, I worked him into a shoot. He's like, that's legit.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm fine with them like doing this story with Dragunov. Some people might be like, it doesn't really seem like it has a direction, and maybe that is the case. Maybe they don't know what, you know, his end goal is, but I think they do, because I think the end goal is eventually he's got to be champ. He has so many fans, so many people around him that, you know, want to see him be champ. So I think that's what they're doing, but it's like he had these opportunities. They're not going to just be like a Roman Reigns or somebody like that where they're always in the main event. It's like, hey, he was there. Let's take him out of the main event for a little bit, let him build his way back up. Yeah, but I do like the story that they're portraying.
I feel that they're going to do that, and like you said, it's when Gradwell keeps pushing those buttons. You know, he's been like the whole match, he was provoking him. He's like, "Come on, man, you know, do it," and then you see.
And especially when he's like, "Oh, you're a disgrace to your family, to your son, and everything like that." You know, like with wrestlers, baby faces, you never bring in the family, the children, all that stuff.
They won't break family. They'll never break that. And then, so like you see like those are the consequences, like the side effects. What happened with with Walter
and not Matt Hardy, side.
No, it's not Matt Hardy. No, it's not that. But it's just like that. Those the consequences, you know, like what happened, the implications with Walter, and then you see just Ilya Dragunov. They're still like, oh, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like I get in these trends that like I don't know how to like snap out of it, but it's really cool regardless. So we'll see what they do.
I think he needs to start hanging out with which we'll talk about later, Tyler Bate, and get in the Zen.
Yes,
Zen.
Get in the Zen. Yes. So we're going to be talking about that. You know, it was a pretty good opening, you know, for the show. Then we got a little bit of like Zaya Brookside and Nina Samuels, because Nina Samuels is her butler, like she's like her assistant. So she was right there with Leah James, and also like there's like, hey, can we get 2 cups of tea?
Can I get an assistant to dress like that, and you know?
Oh yeah, like I wouldn't need her to do anything for me. I wouldn't need her to like, you know, like any tea or anything.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. And I like how when she made him tea, I think she poured like salt or something in the one tea to make it like gross, and then Aaliyah was like, "Oh, okay, I'm out of here," and then Zaya took the non-salted tea, and then Gina's like, "Ugh." Like, God damn it.
So you know, so like we see, like at least the one thing that we always mention in this show, and you always say is like is important in a wrestling show for every single one of you that are new, that are checking us, continuity. Whatever happens on last week's, give me something that I still remember. Oh yeah, because of this, they're doing that. So like it's cool. And, you know, that's what I like about this show. So now let's go to, like, probably the part of the show that normally tends to be pretty decent, average at most, but, like, this week was a little, And this is our boy Noam Dar with Supernova Sessions. And he got as one of his guests as Tyler Bate. And pretty much, like, this was a little awkward for me. I don't know how you felt, but, you know, it felt like a little awkward for me. Like, you know, pretty much is Noam Dar. You know, he was just talking about how, like, next week he's going to face Dave Mastiff. And like he's asking about like the harmony, the Zen, right? That was the whole thing.
Zen, Z-E-N, yeah. And he was just, he was trying to get under Tyler Bates' skin, because he's like, oh yeah, you know, you're trying to be all Zen in that piece, but like, you know, you lost the A kid, and he's like, oh, you're a vegan, so he gives him like a broken piece of broccoli, dumps a bunch of spinach on him. It's just thing he's like, because he's like, so if you're Zen, so when people try to piss you off and get under your skin, you just ignore it because you're at inner peace. So he was trying to, like we said in the first match, push his buttons and do all that stuff. But Tyler, there you go. There's all the green. That's not the green.
Like you will call it. You love the word relish. That's the garnish. That's the garnish.
Yeah, the garnish. Yeah, garnish, so this was. I mean, for Noam Dar and all this stuff, this was probably the weakest one, just because I feel like it never got off the ground a little bit. Like Tyler Bate didn't punch him or anything. There was no like confrontation. There was no. And it was just like, I don't know. To me, it just felt like the weakest one. Maybe I can't really pinpoint it. I do like in the beginning, though, when he was reading like the reviews, he's like, oh, yeah. Go. And then he's like, Noam Dar sucks. He needs a haircut. Then you see him, he's like kind of combing his hair back, and he's like,
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like his personality is so good. Like I like that part. When he goes, no, Dar sucks, and then he like history like just breaks that comment. And he's like, okay, well, let's get my guess. But despite that, like also like Tyler Bate mentions in this thing that he wants to actually face Dave Mastiff under the Heritage Cup rules.
Yes.
Like, I want to talk to like Johnny Saint, to Sid Scala, because like you said, he was very composed and all of that. So in the end, Noam Dar was never able to get him out of that zen, like you said. And then the funny thing is like Tyler Bate was like, okay, so now they play this funky music now. And then even Nigel is like, hey, that's what like the host needs to do. And then he goes, wearing the poncho. I don't know what to think. Tyler Bate is like really talented, but like I don't know if the storyline is going really well for me, because remember, we're asking for Tyler Bate to actually be more heelish, because that will give him like another layer that he could actually have like really good feuds with more people, or like have better matches.
Yeah, and maybe this whole being at Zen and inner peace and all that stuff is the setup for the heel, because you think, oh, he's at inner peace, he's gonna be like a baby face, like remember how Daniel Bryan was vegan and go green and all that, but he'll be like, but Tyler Bate will be like the baby face version. Like maybe that's what they're kind of trying to set it up as, and it's like, nope. He's going to do a 180 and be like, screw you, and come out eating a steak and be a heel and all this stuff, even though I think he's actually a vegan like in his life. So he probably won't eat a steak, but, hopefully they do the switch and do the heel turn, because I do think we need more heels, but I don't know. Maybe they like him as a baby face, but why you don't have crowd? I'd have him be a heel, because I think, that's fine, because the people will pop for him when you do have crowds.
Absolutely. So. I really think that they will do that. So now let's go to this guy. Remember, like we saw a promo last week. Remember, it was the kid that wasn't given anything, that everybody made fun of, picked on the whole time, but rather, like, instead of, like, just have a terrible life or miserable, he actually was able to overcome everything. And then he won money. He won everybody's respect. He wants everybody's, like, honor. And now he's, this guy is, like, now he's really rich. So he's kind of like Alberto Del Rio in Europe. Or like money and stuff. So like we finally get his name, Paul, and his name is going to be Tillman or Tillman. So we're going to see him next week. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a baby face. It's going to be a heel. It's going to be really cool to see a new person on NXT UK, and what is they're involved, in one of the feuds. What is he going to do? So I'll always get excited when new people coming into the brand.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for this. And the way that WWE shoots this with, like, the lighting and how cinematic it is in the story, I'm like, am I watching a trailer for a movie or somebody who's going to be debuting in a wrestling match? You know what I mean? Like, the way that they do it is so good. And, yeah, I'm excited for this guy. I just hope he has a good debut. And the thing is, you debut a lot of these guys, and, like, we'll get to Mako Satomura at the main event. It's like you debut him with a lot of hype. But you almost have to have them be like winning a lot and do stuff. Otherwise, it's like, oh, they come here with all this mystique and this fanfare, and then they lose, and then they just become human. You know what I mean? Like they're up here, then they lose, and then now you're just one. Now you're just one of the boys.
That's the price of like sometimes when in wrestling, when you lose, like you said, the mystique over everything. Yeah, like you said,
Saxton Huxley. Remember what we said early on? Oh, this guy's like Bruiser Brody. He's shaking the fence. He's like screaming. He's going crazy. We haven't seen him in how many weeks? Now, he could be hurt, maybe no report, we don't know, but there was he had all this, craziness. Oh, he's going to go against Walter, loses, and now we haven't seen him. So it's that's what happens.
We go from we want to see the guy, and now he's just like a normal guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I would do, I'm trying to think of a feud for this guy, maybe A-Kid because A-Kid's a clear baby face, this guy, and maybe kind of similar backgrounds, like, oh yeah, poor, grew up, blah, 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 all this stuff. So I don't know. We'll see, but I'm excited for this guy next week.
It is. Yeah, he's going to be excited. So we also heard, remember, we saw Leah James. We're going to see her again. So, like, the one thing I'm liking about NXT UK is, like, they're actually giving, like, these little promos of all the girls in the women's division of the girls. And I like that, like, they're not overly done. It's just like, hey, this is how I started wrestling. This is what I did. And I fell in love with it. I saw Mickie James. I saw Melina. And, like, I fell in love with it. And I've been training. And I received my opportunity to be in the WWE. I'm pretty athletic. This is what I can do. So, like, they did the same thing for also like they Danny Luna, remember, a few weeks ago. So, like, every girl at least gives a little bit of their spot in the women's division. So I like this.
Yeah, and this is what we need to see, the regular NXT do, with all those new signees that they have. They threw some of them on TV. We see these people, oh, yeah, here's the new signee, so-and-so. Who? Can we get a little backstory? Can we get a little bit of something? And that's what NXT UK does. Now, obviously, she had a match and stuff beforehand, but it's not like they waited 2-3 weeks and be like, oh, yeah, now here, this is who she is. No, they gave it to us the following week. And so I like this, and hopefully they continue to do that with, more and more people on, not just NXT UK, but the other shows. Give us a little bit of backstory so we can kind of, like this person a little more.
Absolutely. So, like, this is, let's go on, Paul, to, like, actually, like you said, if they would have taken, this wouldn't be like 5-6 minutes, it would have been great. But this actually was like 16, 17, and I'm like, why? These two tag teams that are not, like main tag teams are having like this type of matches. And this is like Ashton Smith, Oliver Carter, and, finally coming back from injury, Kenny Williams with Amir Jordan. And like you said, match quality, really good. Both tag teams, like, pretty, same height, same physique. So, like, when you have those kind of, like, similarities, it's easy to produce a good match. But the main thing is, like, why was that long? Because neither one of them are going, like, in instant contention for the tag team champions with Pretty Deadly. So I don't know why they made this match way too long.
Yeah, and I think they're just really trying to get, both these teams over, which is fun. I really like the team of Ashton Carter and Smith and Carter. I like Oliver Carter. Yeah, I really like that team. The match, I always pop for matching gear. They even said that they got new gear to kind of reflect that their team. And I mean, these guys are ripped, so I would push them more because Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams, they have the whole like are they going to split? Are they going to be a team? You see Williams is kind of like annoyed by Jordan. He's always like, jumping up and down, doing that kind of bullshit. And Williams is like, so I mean, I don't really like that they won this match. But I mean, maybe that's just whole playing it up. Maybe they're going to get so close, they're about to, have tag team gold. And then that's when Williams turns on him or something. Who knows? But I mean, this match was really good. I would have had the other guys win though. Like I said, I think they're
the win was like kind of like screwy. See,
it was definitely a tainted win because like you saw there was a bunch of just roll up attempts, and then Williams was able to grab the feet when he had him rolled up. So then Amir Jordan was able to flip him, and then he got the roll up win, and it was good because now they're facing Gallus next week. So they'll go over facing the former tag chain. Oh, no, not Gallus.
Morgan Webster.
Yes. They're facing them next week. So you kind of see, okay, like it's not like, oh, you won one random tag match. Now you're number one contender. No, now they got to beat them. Let's say they beat, our boys Morgan Webster and Andrews. Okay, now you maybe go against Gallus. Then Pretty Deadly. I like that. It's like you got to go through the power rankings or like the chain of command. Let's go through the best of the best to get there. But I hope they do something with Smith and Carter, though, because they're too good to kind of just job them out. I would have rather seen, like I said, these two teams lose, cause more friction between Williams and Jordan. But this was still good despite how long it went on, because it was a lot of like, oh, you thought this team was going to win, then this team was going to win, then this team was going to win. And it's like, wow, no offense to any of these four, but the main reason we tuned in was to see Kaylee Ray and Meiko Satomura.
Yeah,
this went way too long.
Wouldn't you have added more time to Kaylee Ray and Meiko Satomura?
Oh, I would have added more time, or just like we said in the top of the show, just make it an hour long. Just keep it the normal hour, 56 minutes, 55 minutes that they do. Not this like over an hour, which it was fine. It was only an extra 8 minutes, but for a match that really didn't mean too much, you didn't need it, but it was a good showcase for all four.
It was good for both, and like you said, the dissension is going to be with like Jordan and Kenny Williams. That's the main thing. Next week we're going to see these guys, Jack Stars, and also Piper Niven, and sorry about that. And we're going to go in against Jeannie and our good boy, Joseph Connors. So like next week they had a little bit of a promo. It's like the first intergender match on NXT UK. So like they were just talking trash with each other. So I'm really hoping that Piper wins this time, but I'm feeling that Connors and Jeannie are going to be the ones winning just because they're a more established like duo. And Stars and Piper, they just got together to have the match. I don't know how you feel.
I mean, I'm hoping the baby faces win just because the whole time they're kind of putting down Jack Stars, like, oh, you're a loser, you're a jobber, all this other stuff. And I hope he wins. I wouldn't mind seeing him get the pin over Connors because I think, while he is associated with Ginny, I think he is like the weakest, in here. Because he's not even like really a wrestler. He's just kind of like her like manager, or not manager, but just like associate, whatever. Jack Stars at least actually wrestles on a regular basis. So, and they're just putting him down. So then that would be good to see him get, the win here, kind of give them the middle finger, like I won. And it kind of keeps, Ginny looks good. Piper Niven doesn't get pinned or anything. So we'll see. I mean, but I also wouldn't be surprised if the heels do win, keep their momentum going as well. But I'm
that's what I feel.
I'm pulling for the baby faces.
I want the baby, but like Piper especially, like they treat her everywhere she goes. She loses, gets to that moment. But can she win? Can she win the big one? Like they said, can she make it? No, never.
Done.
So it is time, Paul. Finally, see how easy it is when you have fun, when you talk with the best booker in the business. Let's talk about main event. Meiko Satomura challenging Kaylee Ray. We had even promos at the beginning of the show. Sasha Banks saying Meiko Satomura is the final boss, is the best in the world. Rhea Ripley saying the same thing. Toni Storm, Bailey talking about. So I know Jean Paul was like already like just right. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like this match was actually, they promised to give us a really good showing, and it was. So for Paul, let's go to the tail of the tape. Right there you go. So like really,
look at that debut, 1995, wrestled WCW Nitro at 17 years old. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean this was legit, and all, like you said, all the women putting her over and stuff. It was awesome. Bailey's like, I'm intimidated by her, and I haven't even stepped in the ring with her yet. So I mean, this is all good stuff, and hopefully with all these women, talking about her, and some of them saying like how much of a legend she is, and they never even wrestled her. Hopefully that means that she's not in NXT UK very long. Maybe she'll kind of be, okay, now I'm going to go to regular NXT. Now I'm on Raw, Smackdown, and then kind of do a little bit, and then maybe like leave and go somewhere else. I don't know what her career is, if she's maybe doing like a very extended tour. Like, let me go all over, wrestle the best of the best before I hang up the boots and stuff. But because I mean, she is a veteran for a long time, and that does take wear and tear on your body and stuff. Especially with how legit she is. She doesn't go out there wrestling like a Sable Kelly bullshit. No, she wrestles a lot harder than probably most men do. So
yes.
She's great. And this match though, it was good because I think a lot of people thought, maybe not like it was going to be a job, not like, oh, Kaylee Ray's going to get murdered here or anything, but I think a lot of people thought, okay, like this is Meiko, she's going to win, it's going to be good, but probably Meiko's going to win, maybe 15-minute match. No, I think they had like 22 minutes this match went. Just very long match. Very good, very contested, tough. Kaylee, I love the submission she does. What are they? It's almost like the one Carmella does, but what do they call it? It's almost like the Code of Silence. What? The
Code of Silence. Very similar. Yes, like
I forget what the name is. They said the name a couple times, but it escapes me. But I mean, that I love that submission, like the the leg with the knee around the neck and stuff. Kaylee Ray I thought she looked really good in this, better than I thought she would, especially at the ending we got. But I love just like all the sequences and stuff.
They have like really nice sequences. For example, this one also, like the DDT on the outside, like right there.
Yes, really and cool. The Death Valley Driver on the apron.
We're going to get here, right there. That's for you. Really nicely done, and that's a really dangerous move to do. It's really difficult to pull out, and they did it wonderful.
And that's what I mean. Meiko is so legit, but so so is Kaylee Ray. Like they said, she's the champion, 500 plus days. So she clearly and she's beaten the best of the best NXT UK had, Piper Niven, Toni Storm. So it's one of the things where like I said, a lot of people probably wrote Kaylee Ray off, and she was like, in the world of kayfabe was like, I'm going to show all you guys, let's see who the real final boss is here. Maybe I beat the game because I beat the final boss. But
she did a beautiful frog splash, and I love how Kaylee Ray had the knees up, and like
can Sasha learn? She said she trained with Meiko Satomura. Can she learn how to do a frog splash like that?
If she didn't learn, right, that we have the picture for you, honey, just do it like that. But
Mercedes, please.
Didn't you hear the impact? Like that was so good. I like that how like it was and that changed completely the course of the match. That sequence, opened up for Kaylee Ray. Then she did, of course, the gory bomb, and then the first one she kicked out. Meiko Satomura, that was absolutely amazing. Then they did a super kick, and remember Meiko went for like the Pele kick. So I used the sequences. It was like
and then she set up for another gory bomb, and she countered that into a Canadian destroyer or just a destroyer, whatever you want to call it. And I mean that was a legit spot. I almost thought it was going to end there, but I'm like, no, Jean Paul, come on, you know how it works. They have to hit their finisher or a roll up. Even though the destroyer is maybe more devastating than the finisher. Yeah. They have to hit the finisher, so it's like, don't be dumb, don't be bullshit. So, of course, the match kept going on, and, it was just good. But I really didn't see the ending. Kaylee Ray, she gets, like you said, the ending sequence was so great. She gets her set up for another gory bomb, hits it, and then, you can always cheat. You can always see, there's only 2 minutes left. Oh, shit, that's probably the end of it when you see the little bar at the bottom to see how long the show has. And I'm thinking, is she going to kick out of 2 gory bombs? I don't know. She's going right into the cover. I don't think so. 1, 2, and then I'm like, give me a Kurt Angle 2.9. Nope. Kick that. No kick out. Done. 3, and it was, Kaylee Ray. I mean, this was legit for her. I think this really legitimized her. Because, like I said, everybody was probably like, Meiko's going to win. Meiko's so legit. Nobody in any of these promos said, watch out for Kaylee Ray. Like, she was nobody. So this was good for, obviously, behind the scenes thing and whatever. Like, that Meiko was like, I have no problem coming in here. My first major match, I'll lose to the champion because it just legitimizes their champion. And with having this match so soon, with her being here in NXT UK, there's always a chance for a rematch.
Yes.
There's a chance for her to, win the belt sometime later on down the line from Kaylee Ray if they want to revisit that. But this was a great match. This was fantastic.
And, Paul, another thing to mention is like Kaylee Ray in this match, she didn't really work as a heel. Because if you think about it, when she actually beat her, there you go, the sound of respect right there. None of like pose attack.
Now see that the thing I don't like about that is now next week if she debuts and she's all like, I told you I'm the best, you are all bullshit. Like if she comes back to being a heel next week, don't show this sign of respect and this legitness. And then be a heel next week. Be a babyface next week.
I like her. She got the title. I mean, it was a pretty good match, like you said. I liked it. Like you said, hopefully she doesn't go back to heel one more time. But like we know that like Eva Valkyrie is the one that is going to take the title.
Oh yeah, or also to talk about, we mentioned or didn't mention yet. There was just a real quick promo where Isla Dawn, she has like a Ouija board and it's kind of like. And then she's looking at like a tarot card, and I believe it was kind of in like a hourglass, so it was kind of hard to see. But I believe it was the Priestess tarot card, so kind of like the same thing, Scarlet with the tarot cards, all this stuff. But so she might be in this picture too. Maybe we'll see Isla Dawn versus Valkyrie again. Who knows what we're gonna see for these women coming up? But they always that's the one thing I hope they do with Meiko. It's like, okay, you lost here, but we're not going to forget about you. Kind of like what Sasha Banks said, like, we lost the titles, and that's fine, but then what's your plan with us after we lose?
Yes.
They're playing with Meiko after they lose. Is it going to be, is Danny Luna going to challenge her? Is you got to have some kind of plan for her because Meiko Satomura is too legit to just bring in, have her put over your champion, and then be like,
that's it, yeah.
And then, now we don't know.
Maybe they do like a number one contender finally with like Eva Valkyrie. That will be good. Or like you said, maybe also like the White Witch.
Mm-hmm. And no offense to Piper, because I'm a fan of her, but it's like Piper had how many championships?
Yes.
So it's like I could easily see Meiko having at least one more. I'm not saying in 2-3 weeks, but maybe down the line.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially if she stays, because like you say, if they move her to NXT, regular NXT, then she will have like more. Oh, she will have great matches with Amber Moon. She will have great matches, with Aaliyah. No, I'm just saying, like it will be a different scheme of things over there.
Oh, I mean, I would at least love for in her WWE, contract career, whatever you want to call it. I'd love to see her go against not only just Io Shirai and Asuka, because they make those comparisons, Japanese women and stuff, but Toni Storm again. Raquel Gonzalez, Mercedes Martinez, Rhea Ripley, Bailey. Let's see that match. Sasha Banks. Sasha said she wants her. So there's so many women that this would be, great matches. Because Mako, I think, is one of those women where, as good as Kaylee Ray is and all these other ones, she when you're in the ring with somebody as legit as her, it brings you up to like another level.
Oh yeah, and like you said, that's the one thing that after today, Kaylee Ray's as in a different level than everybody else because of this victory. She was catapulted to somebody, she's in a different...
And that's why, even though I want to make it a win, that's why I'm not oh, this is bull, that's how I'm it was legit, yeah.
Yeah, because it also make her look really good. If she would have hit her finisher, because Kaylee Ray countered that. Because she was going to do the Scorpio Rising, but then Kaylee Ray scouted it really good, and then she grabbed it. So I love that that thing in wrestling when your opponent what they're going to do, and when they're executing the move, how to counter it. That Angle did that, Benoit did that, so good stuff. So family, a great episode of NXT UK. Please watch it. Also after the review, please don't do it, and also help us out just subscribing, hit the bell for notifications. We put on content every single time. Tomorrow we have SmackDown live. And it's not live. Robert will be live. We'll be talking about that. We have also AEW Revolution this week. A lot of stuff. Paul already talked about all of that. So please watch the review for AEW Crossroads. So where else can they find us?
And to make sure you follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course the home of the #1 podcast, the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
Thank you, family. We'll see you tomorrow. And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...